Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Curtis, and today I'm going to do a review for House of Payne, Season 14, Episode 11. The episode starts off with Calvin calling Junior into the living room because he wants to talk to him about Christian's birthday party. He asks Junior what does he think he should get him for his birthday, and he says, I'm not really sure because he's a square. I was like, damn, big bro, you talking about your little brother like that? A square, though? Calvin is like, Junior, do not call your brother a square. Then he's just like, seriously, what do you think that your brother would want for his birthday? He's like, I don't know, something stupid like a book. And I was like, something stupid like a book? Come on now. But I have to remember his age, right? And so it's like, okay, well, what kind of book do you think that he wants? He was like, oh, I don't know, maybe something that nerds will read. And I was just like, okay, Junior, enough of you. While the two of them are talking, Calvin, he looks down at his phone and he sees that it's ringing, and it's Miranda. So he picks up the phone and she's just like, hey, I'm outside. He was like, why are you outside? Just come inside. And she's like, well, when it comes to me and Laura, we do not have the best relationship, so I'm just trying to respect boundaries. He's like, listen, don't worry about it. Laura's not here. It's okay if you come in. It's going to be fine. Junior's just looking like, mm. Calvin's just like, what? And he's like, you know that Laura is going to go off when she finds out that Miranda's in this house. He's like, boy, mind your business and stay in the child's place. This has nothing to do with you. Like, relax. I got this. Miranda walks into the apartment. She doesn't knock, by the way, but she walks into the apartment with Christian. Christian does rush over to Calvin, and then Miranda tells Christian to tell Calvin what happened in English class that day. Christian tells Calvin that he won an essay contest, so of course Calvin's like, oh my god, that's great, that's wonderful. Miranda says that the essay was so good that his teachers actually want to send it over to the state competition. I was like, okay, I see you, little man. After Calvin and Miranda finish congratulating Christian on winning the essay contest, they tell him to go into the room, so he does. And then the two of them have a conversation about his birthday. So Calvin is like, what do you think that we should get him for his birthday? And she says, well, I know what he wants, but I'm not going to get it for him. So Calvin's like, well, what does he want? And she says that he wants a $1,600 cell phone. Calvin was like, shit. And I was just thinking to myself, like, when I was that age, I believe I had a Boost Mobile church phone that had minutes. And so when it comes to that little boy, he'll be getting the same thing. Ain't no way in the world he will be getting a $1,600 cell phone at that age. So no, that would not happen. Miranda tells him that she does not believe that it's appropriate for a kid his age to have a cell phone that expensive. So Calvin's like, well, I mean, as far as the other kids in this class, do they have the phone? And she was like, well, according to Christian, they do. But when I spoke to the parents, they're saying something different. But either way it goes, I do not feel like it's appropriate. And then also, we have to take into consideration social media and the internet. I do not believe that he is ready for that. And so I'm against it. And Calvin says, you know what? I agree. As the two of them are talking, having a conversation about Christian's birthday party, Laura comes in. And you can tell that Laura is pissed that Miranda is there. So Miranda, she's just like, hey, trying to like play it cool, but she's just looking at her like, mm. So Calvin, he does pipe up and he's like, listen, she's here because we are planning Christian's birthday party. That's it. Like, I didn't want any drama. I did not want any issues. I'm not trying to disrespect you. We are just trying to plan the birthday party. That is it. Laura's like, okay, well, you know what? I don't want to disrupt anything, so I'm just going to go into the room. Miranda's like, you're not disrupting anything. In fact, I was actually going to leave. And so when it comes to Laura, she was getting ready to go into the room, like I was saying a little bit earlier. But she does turn around. She's like, hey, to confirm, his birthday is on Saturday, right? She was like, yes. She was like, okay, cool. Then she goes into the room. And then Miranda's like, see, I told you that this would happen. Kyron's just like, wait a minute, hold up. I thought you two squashed the little beef that you had. She said, hell no, we didn't squash this beef. We are just playing nice for the kids. We don't really care for each other like that. We just do what we feel is best for the children, but we don't really fuck with each other like that. Calvin is just like, oh my god, these women in my life, why is there so much drama? So Miranda's like, listen, you need to fix this. You need to go into the room, talk to Laura, and you need to fix this. And then she leaves. And then as far as Laura, she actually comes out of the room as Miranda's leaving. And she's like, are you done whispering about me? He's like, we're not whispering about you, girl. He asks her if she is okay with Miranda being in the apartment. And she's like, Calvin, we have already had this conversation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. Like, how many times do I have to tell you that I'm not comfortable with her being in this house? Like, why do we keep having the same conversation over and over? He tells her again that he did not mean to disrespect her. He just felt like it would be easier if they were in the same room when it comes to planning Christian's birthday party. He did not mean to cause all of these issues and all of this drama. He just felt like it would just be easier that way. Lauren's just like, you know what, whatever, Calvin. So at this point, her emotions, they are all over the place. Like, she's confused, she's upset, she's pissed. And so Calvin was like, you know what? I see that you are confused, you are mad, you are pissed. So let me just add on something else to make you even more upset. So he goes over to her and he's like, you know what? When it comes to Christian's birthday party, it's actually going to be at my mom's house. Laura's just like, oh my God, can this day get any worse? So he's just like, are you going to come? Are you going to attend? And she's like, I'm not really sure. And he's like, but if you do not come, Christian's going to be crushed. He's going to be upset, like you have to come. So she's like, well, when it comes to your family members, do they even want me to come over to the house? And he's like, yes, they want you to come over to the house. Like, everybody wants you to be there. And so she's like, well, what changed? Because a few weeks ago, they told me to get the fuck on. So how did we go from them wanting me to get the fuck on to now they want me to come over? He was like, you still worried about that? Because he thought that they had worked everything out when it comes to Laura and Ella. He was like, I thought you two already had the conversation and worked it out. So she's like, you know what? I'm not even about to go back and forth. I will come to the birthday, and it's going to be for Christian and for Christian only, nobody else. And so Calvin's like, you know what? Fine. In the next scene, we see CJ, we see Janine, they're having a conversation in the kitchen, and then Malik walks in. Malik tells CJ that every time he is out and about, somebody comes up to him and tells him how much they appreciate CJ. And he's like, you know what, that's crazy because a couple of years ago, they were trying to crucify me. He was like, yeah, but you got past that storm, right? He was like, yeah. He was like, well, speaking of storms, there's actually another one coming. He was like, what storm are you talking about? Before Malik could answer the question, somebody actually knocks on the door, so they do go to the door, answer it, and it's Miss Glow. And she asked him if they received any flyers from Mrs. Wellington. And so Janine and CJ, they're like, no, we haven't received anything. But Malik was like, yes, I did. And he shows on the flyer, and it's Miss Glow on the flyer. It's her mugshot. And I started laughing because I'm like, that is some petty shit that I would do. After this, we see Ella, we see Miranda, we see Calvin. They are standing around having a conversation. And so Miranda and Ella asked Calvin if he invited Laura. He was like, yeah, I invited her, but she does feel a way about you in regards to Ella because of the things that you two went through. And she was just like, look, today is not about her. It's not about me. It's about Christian. She needs to put that shit to the side so we can focus on Christian. And I agree with that. Now, when it comes to Christian, he is out, he's having a good time with his friends. They actually call him in like, hey, come in and open your gifts. And so he does come in and he does open one of the gifts. And as he is opening the gift, Laura actually walks in and she has a gift. And so she's like, hey, can you promise to open my gift next? And he's like, yeah, sure. And so he opens the first gift, he likes it, and then he opens up the second gift, which is from Laura. And it turns out that Laura actually bought him that $1,600 phone. And then Calvin and Miranda, they were just like, oh my God, I cannot believe she did this shit. Now, when it comes to Christian, of course, he is happy, he's excited, he's hyped, like, oh my God, I got the phone I wanted. But when it comes to Miranda, she is seeing things a little bit differently. And so she decides to put her foot down. She's like, no, 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 no. You cannot have this phone. It's not something that you can have right now. You are not ready. You need to give the phone back to Miss Laura so she can take it back or she can do whatever she wants to do with it. But you cannot have this phone. And he just drops his head down. It's like, oh, this is terrible. Laura's just like, what is the problem? Calvin chimes in. He says, well, when it comes to the cell phone, Miranda and I already had a conversation about it. We feel like the phone is too expensive, and we also feel like he is not ready for a cell phone. So we just feel like it would be best if you just took the phone back. And so she's like, but all of the kids have this phone. And Miranda's like, well, that's irrelevant because what they have does not have anything to do with my son. I do not feel like he should have this phone. Laura attempts to reason with Calvin, but Calvin's like, listen, I made a decision. Miranda's made a decision. We have made a decision together. We do not want him to have that phone. And so Laura actually looks over at Miranda. She's like, you know what? We previously had a conversation about co-parenting. I'm trying to be the best co-parent that I can, but you are not letting me. And then Miranda's like, well, when it comes to co-parenting, you should have came to me first, asked me if it's okay to get the cell phone, and then we could have talked about it then, instead of us talking about it now in front of Christian. Like, it's awkward now. Like, you should have just spoke to me first. And I agree. Calvin tells Christian to give the phone back to Laura. And so, of course, she's just like, oh, man, here you go. So Laura, she is pissed. Calvin tells her to not make a scene. She's like, I'm not trying to make a scene. I'm just trying to give a gift to your son. He's like, listen, we are not going to have this conversation in front of Christian. We'll just talk about it later. Lauren goes and she sits down next to Christian. She gives him a hug. She apologizes. She says that she loves him. And then she starts to gather her things. And so they're just like, wait, are you getting ready to leave? And she's like, yes. And so Ella was like, if you leave, he'll be crushed. Like, come on now, Christian wants you to be here. And she's like, exactly. Christian wants me to be here. You all do not want me to be here. Calvin attempts to chime in when it comes to the argument that's getting ready to happen between Laura and Miss Ella. But Laura, she's not having it. She's like, look, In situations like this, I expect you to have my back. And he's like, well, I can't have your back in moments like this when you were acting like this. She was like, acting like what? He said, acting like this. And she's like, you know what? I'm not about to sit here go back and forth with you. I'm not about to go back and forth with your family. I'm out. Bye. After the party is over, Miranda, Janine, Jasmine, Ella, they sit down and have a conversation about Laura and everything that happened at the party. And Miranda asked him if she was wrong for not waiting to tell Christian that he cannot have the phone. And they were just like, no, she should have had a conversation with you prior. If she would have done that, none of this would have happened. Once again, I agree. Ella chimes in and says that Laura does not have the sense that God gave her. And I said, Ella, please calm down. Listen, I get that that was a dramatic moment, but to say that she doesn't have the sense that God gave her, like, relax. We're just talking about a cell phone. Like, calm down. As the four of them are talking, CJ, Malik, Curtis, they do come into the house and they show Ella one of the campaign flyers that Miss Wellington has been passing around and remember has Miss Glow's mugshot. And so, of course, everybody is just laughing, they're cracking up. And speaking of Miss Glow, she actually comes into the house. And so Curtis is just like, when it comes to this mugshot, like, what happened? And she says that she wrote a bad check. And so she's like, you know, when it comes to my campaign, I could just kiss it goodbye now. And Malik was like, I'm not really sure about that. Curtis was like, I don't know. People are talking, they're asking questions. Malik was like, listen to me. Everything is going to be under control. Like, you're going to get through this. And he's like, you know what I can do? I can actually be your campaign manager. And she was like, well, I don't have any money to pay you to be a manager. He was like, that's fine. I can do it for free. And I guarantee you that you will win. And she's like, you know what? You have a deal. In the next scene, Calvin, he does make it home, and then he does see that Laura, she's actually on the phone with her father. And so Laura's like, you know what, Ashley, I need to go. I need to hang up. Calvin is here. And so he's like, you know what, can we talk? She's like, I'm not really trying to talk right now. He was like, no, we need to have a conversation right now. Calvin tells Laura that she disrespected his son. And she was like, excuse me, disrespected him? How can you say I disrespected him? I gave him a gift that he wanted. So he was like, well, when it comes to this gift, you should have asked me first. Like, why didn't you come to me first to ask me if it was okay to get the phone? She was like, listen, I spoke to Christian. I asked him, what do you want for your birthday? He said he wanted the phone. So I scraped up the money that I had and I bought him a phone. Like, what is the big deal? Calvin is like, well, one, you did not have a conversation with me or Miranda to make sure it was okay to get the phone. And then two, you went against me when I told you that I did not want him to have the phone while we were at the house. Like, once I said that he did not need to have that phone, you should have just accepted defeat, took the phone back, and then everything would have been good. But instead you wanted to argue, make a big deal, and make a scene, and you made everything worse. Laura's just like, wait a minute, hold on for a second. I made a scene? I made things worse? No. You, Ella, and Miranda made things worse when you all decided to call me out in front of everybody. If you would have just pulled me to the side and said, hey, in regards to Calvin, me and Miranda had a conversation. We decided that the phone is too expensive and we felt like he is just not ready for the phone. We could have worked together, made us some kind of excuse. I could have got the phone back. All of this could have been avoided. But instead, you all decided to call me out in front of everybody and it made things worse. And I agree with her because it's like, you could have just pulled her to the side because as soon as she gave him that phone, Miranda's like, no, 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 you cannot have it. And it just caused it to become super awkward. So I do agree with her on that. Calvin's just like, you make everything about you. Like, today was not about you, it was about Christian. She was like, exactly. It was about Christian and it should have stayed about Christian, but you all made it about me. You all decided to attack me. He was like, oh my God, nobody attacked you. She was like, I was attacked. And you know what? At this point, I'm starting to feel like you were not able to protect me. Like, in that moment, I was looking for you to have my back, but you did not protect me. And he's like, listen, I will protect you when you need protection. You didn't need to be protected in that moment. And she's like, yes, I did. And that's the problem right there. You never stand up for me when it comes to your family. Calvin is just like, wait a minute, hold on for a sec. I know you are not trying to flip this around on me like I'm the problem. Like, we're not talking about me right now. We're talking about you and the way that you were behaving. The way that you behaved was completely unacceptable. She's like, you know what? I'm so sick of this shit. He was like, I'm sick of it too. And so she does walk away. He's like, you know what? At this point, I feel like we may need to postpone the wedding until we can get everything together. And she's like, you know what? There's no need to postpone it because I'm not going to marry you. And he was like, oh, is that what we are doing? So she does walk over to him. She takes off her ring. She tries to hand it to him, but he's just standing there like, I cannot believe like what's going on right now. So she puts the ring down on the counter, and then next thing you know, we hear a knock on the door, and it's actually her father. And he says, are you ready to go? And she says yes, and that's how the episode ends. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. If you could, please like, comment, share, subscribe. That would be great. Hope you all have a great rest of your day. Bye.